Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I'm going to talk about a recent Barnes & Noble book haul and a recent library book haul. Last week, I went to a local mall, different mall than I normally go to regularly. This mall I go to every few months. Walk around, look at the Lego store, get something to eat at Subway, and I got some candles at a Bath & Body Works there once. But when I walked into the section of the mall I entered from, there was on a far wall signs that said Barnes & Noble is going to be moving in there. And I knew the Barnes & Noble that I go to near there, which is down the street from there, I knew that their lease had expired and they were going to move. I didn't realize they were going to move to the mall. Turns out that there must have been some local schools. Their summer break must have been this week because there's a fair amount of kids there. So went in the Lego store, but I didn't stay long or buy anything, but it was kind of crowded. So after I got my lunch at Subway, I went to the Barnes & Noble. Weren't many cars there. It was sale, I think 30% to 40% off. Went in, there was a lot of empty areas, and the remaining books were kind of moved, so they're all kind of together. It was kind of hard to determine which type of book it was. They were still in their own discrete sections, it just wasn't clear what they were. The YA section and the middle grade and children's sections, those were all empty and had been moved forward, and as I said, together with other stuff. Toys were pretty much gone. The whole toy section was empty. There was still a few toys remaining. There's no music stuff. I don't know if they just didn't put that on sale and just were going to move to the new store or what. But looked around for a while. There's still a fair amount of books, but it does appear that the books that people really covet, they're probably mostly gone. But I did look around and did pick up some books and a couple of magazines. The first book I want to show is Me, He, Ever After by Tay Keller, illustrated by Geraldine Rodriguez. On the back it shows that it's for ages 7 to 12, and it does kind of look like it's a middle grade book. The synopsis says, when Mihi and her friends Reese and Savannah discover that the librarian's refrigerator is actually a portal into a fairy tale land, they expect a world filled with magic, a chance to meet and maybe even become princesses, shot to prove once and for all that they belong in their favorite fairy tales. They do not expect scheming mice, dangerous ladies in waiting, an apple that casts unexpected curses, and zombies. But when they find all that and more, they must ask themselves, do they have what it takes to create a fairy tale of their own? And more importantly, do they have what it takes to survive it? The second book is Critical Hits, Writers Playing Video Games, with essays by Hanif Abdur-Kubib. I probably butchered the name, sorry about that. Charlie Jane Anders, Alexander Chi, Louisa Pham, and more. Edited by J. Robert Lennon and Carmen Maria Machado. On the back it says, an anthology of essays exploring one of the most vital art forms on the planet. From the earliest computers to the smartphones of our pockets, video games have been on our screens and part of our lives for over 50 years. Critical Hits celebrates this sophisticated medium and considers its lasting impact on our culture. This collection of stylish, passionate, and searching essays opens with an introduction by Carmen Maria Machado, who edited the anthology alongside J. Robert Lennon. These pages, writer gamers find solace from illness and grief, test ideas about language, bodies, power, race, and technology, see their experiences and identities reflected in or complicated by the interactive virtual worlds they inhabit. Elisa Washuda immerses herself in The Last of Us during the first summer of the pandemic. Nana Kwame Ajay Brenya describes his last goodbye to his father with the help of Disco Elysium. Jamil Jan Koshe remembers being an Afghan-American teenager killing Afghan insurgents in Call of Duty. Also included are a comic by Mary Naomi about her time as a video game producer, deep dive into Portal Fantasy movies about video games by Charlie Jane Anders, new work by Alexander Chi, Harif Abdurraqub, Larissa Pham, and many more. The next book is We Do Not Welcome Our 10-Year-Old Overlord by Garth Nix. What it says is a strange and powerful object falls into the wrong hands. It's not fair. Kim's always lived in the shadow of his younger sister, Aliyah, which is not how it's supposed to be. Everyone talks about how smart Aliyah is, but in Kim's eyes, she can still make mistakes, big mistakes. One day, Kim and Aliyah find an otherworldly object floating in a lake. Kim thinks it's bad news, especially when it communicates with Aliyah and she decides to take it home. Shunsi is calling it her friend, and in return, it's giving her awesome powers about insects, animals, and weather, and more. These are powers no one should have, particularly not a 10-year-old girl who thinks she's always right. What can Kim and his group of gamer friends do against someone like that, and should they even try? Maybe Eliah's right in the end, he is a friend, but what if it isn't? Sounds like another middle grade book. And the next book is Naomi Osaka, Her Journey to Finding Her Power and Her Voice by Ben Rothenberg. What it says, a deeply reported, revealing biography of tennis phenomenon and activist Naomi Osaka telling the untold story behind her Grand Slam winning career, her headline-making advocacy for racial justice and mental health, the challenges of a life in the international spotlight. Naomi Osaka is everywhere, but how did she get there? Most tennis fans were introduced to Naomi Osaka as they watched her win the 2018 U.S. Open final in an unforgettably controversial and dramatic victory over idol Serena Williams. Her extraordinary talent propelled her to the top of her sport and onto the front pages of newspapers and magazines worldwide, but it was her unique blend of awe-striking power and disarming vulnerability that fascinated millions as she became a champion like none before her. Osaka has captivated the tennis world and gained attention across the culture, not only by winning 3 more Grand Slams, but by finding her voice in a range of topics that have made her a touchstone, far beyond sports, positioned at the crossroads of myriad social issues. I used to watch a lot of tennis. I don't anymore, but I've certainly heard of her, so when I saw this, it's, I just wanted to pick it up. As part of my visit, I looked at the magazine section. Still a fair amount of magazines there, so I picked up a couple. The first is Friction, a literary anthology, Spring 2026, Infamy issue 26. This is sort of a magazine, I guess. What it says is, in this issue, Amanda Knox, Ken Liu, Noah Charney, Andrea McDonald, a special feature with Soul in Space. Friction is a literary anthology carefully curated to evaluate an important cultural topic from vastly different perspectives, from historical origins and nonfiction essays to the wildest reaches of fiction, poetry, comics, and art. Each issue inspires us to think differently. All proceeds support our nonprofit mission to change lives through the power of storytelling. And I also got Anthem Movie Guide, K-Pop Demon Hunters, Essential Fan Guide, 100% Unofficial, Inside Story of the K-Pop Movie Phenomenon. I have not actually seen this movie. I have heard some of the songs, and I do like them. This says Meet the Stars and Singers, 14 essential K-pop bands, 18 pages of puzzles and coloring pages. Also, because I had recently renewed my yearly Barnes & Noble membership, it comes with a free tote bag. There are only 2 left. One of them was blue though, and I do like blue, so I got this tote bag. It's nice and thick. You can tell it's very well made. On a sign on the door going in, it says that their last day is May 2nd. It's very doubtful I will be back there before that. I was kind of sad leaving the store. I've been going to this store a few times a year ever since Borders closed in local mall, which was late in 2011. So I've gone a fair amount. It is my top place, really the only, well, sometimes I go to Target and buy books there, but not too much. So it's the main place when I actually go to physically visit a place and buy books. It's the main place. So I kind of didn't want to leave, but ultimately have to at some point. Plus, I didn't want to run into rush hour traffic on the way home. So I'm going to be interested to see when they move to the mall, because it's going to be the new setup. The one that is closing is the old setup. I have heard people say that they don't like the new setup, but I will be interested to see what it's like. But just a little sad. I mean, it's not sad in the way it's totally going out of business. It's just sad it's like the particular location is closing. Next, I want to show a few books that I got during a recent library visit. The first is The Secret Side of Empty by Maria E. Andrew. What it says: I will always be a stranger everywhere. Empty has a major problem. It is not her straight A grades, it is not her loyal best friend, or budding romance. It is not her abusive father, not really. The simple yet very complicated problem is that Empty is illegal. Izin has pale skin and blondish hair, and has lived in the U.S. for most of her life illegal. Izin has no social security card or driver's license, kind of undocumented. Izin feels like she has no hope for a future where the future is, all everyone talks about, frustrated. Empty's survival is hinged on trusting no one. Really, it will take no one but herself in order to make a claim in the life that she wants to have. Debut author Maria E. Andrew draws from her personal experience for this candid journey of shifting tides and self-discovery. Another book I borrowed is Mary Oliver, Devotions and Selected Poems of Mary Oliver. Mary Oliver is someone who had a book chat with Pat champions frequently, and in a recent video she mentioned her again. I think this particular book was one she mentioned. I'm not absolutely positive of that. But when I found myself in the poetry section at the library, I thought, well, gee, I'll see if I can find something by Mary Oliver, and I did see this book, so I decided to borrow it. Poetry is something I would like to read more of. I've read some, but I just haven't delved very deeply into it. But when I saw this book, and especially as Pat recently talked about it, I decided to pick it up. What it says: Mary Oliver has touched countless readers with her brilliantly crafted verse, expounding on her love for the physical world, powerful bond among all living things. Now the Pulitzer Prize-winning poet returns with a stunning and definitive collection spanning more than 5 decades of her esteemed and celebrated literary career. Carefully curated, Devotions follows Oliver's work from her very first book of poetry, No Voyage and Other Poems, published in 1963 when she was 28, through her most recent collection, Felicity, published in 2015. This timeless volume, arranged by Oliver herself, showcases the beloved poet at her edifying best, Within these pages, he provides us with an extraordinary and valuable collection of her passionate, perceptive, and much treasured observations of the natural world. As I said, Pat has championed this book, and other people I've seen have championed Mary Oliver too. And the third book is Threads of Ether Code by M.J. Businski. See what it says. The Stratus Expo, a mysterious showcase of digital magic called Ether Code, is under attack by monstrous beast. For Aries, Shauna, and Lily, a chance to flex their coding skills turns into an urgent teleportation to Emport, a world owned and operated by Stratus. Aries receives a crash course in Ether Code from Emport's best programmer. Her unique ability to recraft reality brings her into competition with Stratus and its users, but an unknown Ether Code program wants to take her mind for itself. Meanwhile, in a faraway city, Shauna creates technology that thinks for itself. Can she create a solution for Aerie before Stratus permanently binds them to its network? And where is Lily? Lily's talent for manipulating Ether Code gains her the chief administrator's favor. As Stratus targets her friends, Lily's choices become crucial. Something ominous lies at the heart of the Stratus network. The girls, though, join together in hopes of returning home, hanging by a thread. I did start reading this while in the library and have read some more since. I'm quite enjoying it. I don't fully follow what's going on, but I mostly do, and it's quite an interesting book, a very creative book. I think the world building is very impressive so far. I would be interested in any recent trips you took to your library, what you borrowed, what you think of your library. The library I went to just opened in last December. It's right next to the old library, which was demolished. I quite enjoy going there. If you can't think of anything else you'd like to comment, please add an emoji, a book or a book stack emoji, or an emoji of your choice. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.